Well, certainly the
Hi,
picture
Alishia.
on a global scale looking dismal today, and nervousness sweeping in on the back of those credit downgrades in both Greece and in Portugal. How are you reading the kind of activity we're seeing on the markets at the moment?
Alishia, when you look at the markets, I mean, we are down considerably. I think a lot of stocks have come through their stop losses. We're seeing volumes very high, 5 billion traded so far. So a lot of panic and also a lot of investors taking their stop losses, waiting to see how far low we're going to go down, and then possibly nibbling at the lower levels, and then obviously waiting for direction in terms of resolution from Europe, and also in terms of the FOMC meeting this evening. So a lot of profit taking, short covering, just a mix of nervousness in the market this morning.
A mix of nervousness, but while those downgrades and the fear of contagion has fueled fear about Eurozone stability, we've still got the euro dollar managing its grip on 130 at the moment, where many would have expected it to go through. To what extent is this standing as a sign of some confidence in the fact that a resolution is going to be coming to the fore sooner rather than later?
Alishia, I think the investors see value at 130, and it is possibly positive because the EU is probably not going to allow Greece to default. They have come in previously to say that they have supported them with the loan facility. I think the rating was possibly expected in the market, but not Portugal. And I think the Portuguese slashing of rates obviously has now added fuel that that it could reach into the rest of Europe, and I think that is probably what is aggravating the nervousness in the market.
Well, while we've got that aggravating on the one end, the other big issue is the grilling of Goldman Sachs, where we now have markets anticipating that it will trigger financial reforms. How are the markets pricing in this possible eventuality, if at all?
Alishia, that's quite a difficult one to look at, because if we do see reforms, finally coming through, we've had threats in terms of market reform. It would mean that emerging markets would come under a lot of pressure. We'd see a lot of cash being pulled. We possibly could see a massive deficit on our side. So one has to be cautious ahead of that in terms to see the outcome. I don't think as investors we should make any decisions until we see the outcome, because sometimes it's just a lot of investigation. But be cautious. Don't invest unless you're very sure of where the market's going to go.
Well, certainly, so far we've seen the good results that we've seen coming in seeming to mean very little, with the sovereign debt issue really overshadowing. But we've seen traders in Japan at the same time suggest that there are investors who are willing to pick up stocks at these lows because of the high expectations for their domestic corporate earnings. To what extent are you expecting to see some of that filter through? Merely the expectation that corporate earnings are going to be quite solid or better than we've been getting used to of late?
Alishia, if you look at the corporate earnings, especially from your banks, your US banks, they were off on, or up rather, on trading activity. We saw little improvement in terms of your consumer side. So I think that's what is really spurring the nervousness or the potential reform. I think if you look at some stocks that are going to offer value, possibly your Billiton, we saw them coming out with they've got that new coal venture. There are some stocks that are like MTN. MTN has good value at these prices.
Let's hone in on MTN, because it's confirmed it's in acquisition talks with Orascom. Consensus seems to be that this would be a good news for them. For a change, they're buying something, and it's an area that they need to get growth and exposure to. What's your view on the possible deal being struck here?
I think it's very positive for MTN. They have confirmed after the rumours that they're definitely going to be looking at it. I think what's really important is it's going to allow them access to Northwest Africa, and it will allow them to be a competitor with Zain, which is very positive for them. We're very positive on the stock. I think they're going to do really well. We've got a one-year target of 135 Rand, so really positive for them. I mean, unfortunately, they're down in the market, but I think the market's just generally off today, Alishia.